Fellow liberators and patriots alike, we're back. It's been a couple weeks and we've been on tour. And through this tour, we've met a lot of interesting, awesome people. And I'd say one of my favorite people among the last couple weeks that we reunited with is someone who's going to be a new contributor and our newest correspondent onto Liberty Report. And I am happy to introduce you today to Vicky Richter. Vicky Richter on X is Vicky Richter USA. Her Substack is vickyrichter.substack.com. And bringing you today to introduce herself, what you can expect from her, her type of reporting, her type of corresponding is Vicky herself. Vicky, welcome to Liberty Report, our newest correspondent. I'm so happy for you to be here.
Thank you for having me, and it's a great honor for me to be a part of your great news network, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, I know your excitement is real. I've seen it, I've experienced it, and I'm excited as well. Our audience they're just not prepared for the type of reporting that you have in store. Can you tell our audience what type of reporting you're gonna bring them, what type of corresponding that they could expect from you?
So my type of reporting and journalism is the type of how it actually should be. Like, I take being a journalist very serious, and I can tell you from my background, maybe that answers the best way why I'm doing my journalism, how I want to do my journalism is, I was Special Forces Psyops in the German military 8.5 years, and yeah, the names already says, we did a lot of psyops and propaganda, and seeing that happening to my country in 2020 from my own government, doing that to my own people and to myself and to my daughter especially, made me to come back to the war journalism I learned in the military in my first place. And I said, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna put any propaganda out there anymore, and we need more and more real journalism. And what is real journalism? So journalism is, you go to a place, you report what's going on, you report what you see, you film what you see, and you keep your own opinion out of it. Because if I put my opinion in it, I filter already the message, and that's not fair to the audience, because the audience need to have a right to make a right decision. They need all the facts unfiltered. And this is what I try to do. And I give every part of the story a chance to have a platform. Like, just take the border crisis, for example. I'm going to talk with the Democrats, I talk with Republicans, I talk with people living in Arizona, living at the border, or living in Texas at the border. And I also talk with the illegals. And I don't give an opinion about it. I just take this and bring it to the people, and I don't dramatize it and I don't play it down, because in our problem, or in our society right now, you have this two aisles. You have either totally anti or totally pro. So there is no common ground of the story. There is no middle field. There is no just the happening. It's not just the truth. They already filter the truth fitting to their narrative, and I swore to myself I will never produce any narrative again.
So what you're saying is your type of journalism is not a biased type of journalist, but more of an objective type of journalism, an investigative type of journalism.
Yeah, I love to go down the rabbit hole and find out what's really happening, and I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I do boots on the ground journalism. I've been to the border now 29 times since I'm in America, since 2021. I talk to the people. I'm not afraid to even to film cartels, and I ask the not so like questions, like, and I don't care if you are Republican, Democrat or not. I'm gonna ask you why you are supporting the border wall or not. I gonna ask you, and if your answer is very political, I ask you again, why are you doing that? Not giving me a political answer, because a political answer can give you everyone.
I've seen you do get the answers that you're searching for. You will get to them, and you have a type of bravery that puts you in situations a lot of other people are afraid to be in. Can you tell us some of the people, awesome guests that you've interviewed in the past?
So, I had the chance to interview Jair Bolsonaro, the former Brazilian president, in Brazil. I got invited to interview him even before Tucker Carlson. I interviewed Zachary Voorhees. He's the Google whistleblower. I interviewed Tom Renz. I could also interview Alex Jones, and I interviewed Patrick Byrne. I interviewed Moms for America. I interviewed Tom Massey. I was very proud of the Tom Massey interview. And I had a very, very funny interview with Vivek Ramaswamy. He didn't really like my questions.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people may not like your questions, but they're good questions, and the people listening appreciate your questions. So quite a list, very good names. You've interviewed a president. Did I hear you say that you could interview Alex Jones, or have you?
I have.
You've interviewed Alex Jones, okay.
Yeah, I grabbed him after he got interviewed by Breitbart, and I said, I need that you answer my question. And then he said, okay.
Oh, was that just recently, this week?
Yeah, that was at the We the People conference, where I also had the chance to film the very confusing situation with Nick Fuentes when he got kicked out. So I was there the whole time, from coming to the event, talking to the security, getting kicked out of the event.
You guys, Vicky has a sense to be in the right place at the right time, where there's something happening. The next viral moment, she seems to be there ahead of time. And I encourage everyone to go to at Vicky Richter USA on X, and I think it's your pinned tweet post is of that encounter that you just spoke of
Yep.
Nick Fuentes getting kicked out of Turning Point USA, and you were actually not only right there up front, but you were actually doing a one-on-one interview in the process with Nick. So good stuff, Vicky.
Yeah, it was very interesting for me to see, because so my background is I'm from Germany. I'm a German citizen, and when we talk about America, when we hear about America, they always say, oh, it's the land of the free because of the brave, and we are a big fighter for freedom of speech, and a hardliner in freedom of speech. And then when you go into the bubble of the freedom movement and the MAGA movement, then you have this, freedom of speech is everything, because you lose everything when you lose freedom of speech. But then you have situations like we had with Nick Fuentes, where it more seems like, oh, freedom of speech is also a one-way street in that movement. Like, you can have so much freedom of speech if it fits in the narrative, even on the left side. So that's kind of a very interesting situation, what I filmed there, and what I was witnessing. And yeah, I was a little bit shocked, but yeah.
I just love how you're in these places, getting the footage, you ask questions at the same time, and you let the people decide for themselves what's going on. So very good stuff. We're gonna see you on the border a lot. We're gonna see you, like you had mentioned, boots on the ground, doing some reporting out in the field. We're gonna see you doing studio type reporting, where you're gonna have in studio guests, awesome guests that you've already been lining up. I've seen some of the names on your list that you're gonna have in the near future that are just absolutely amazing. So we look forward to having you on here. Also, can you let everyone know, I just want everyone to know the type of heart and bravery that you carry. Can you give a little background on the type of suffering, should we say, that you've had to go through just to represent freedom of speech with your daughter? You have a daughter as well, and you and your daughter have been through some tough situations where you've ended up here in the USA, land of the free, right?
Yeah, so everyone saw 2020 and the pandemic, or pandemic, if whoever you want to see that. And So I was stuck in America because I flew out with the last plane on the 13th of February, and I wanted to do a 10-day holiday vacation to visit a friend in Georgia. Then Trump put out his wonderful flight restriction, and no planes go out to Germany and Europe anymore. So I was kind of stuck in Georgia and could see how America was dealing with the pandemic, like with the lockdowns, but with wearing a mask was kind of a thing. Yeah, if you want, you can. If not, then not. And then my mom was taking care of my little one in that time, and I did FaceTime a lot with her, and she was starting, hey, that's gonna be weird here. And so my background, I was born in Eastern Germany, so I have the idea of how socialistic tyranny looks like in real time. Like my mom had to report to the Stasi and all that stuff. So kind of hard stuff, but we could talk about that in a different setting. But what brought me to America then was I came back on 4th of July 2020, because that was the day when the travel ban was kind of lifted. So they brought the first people over, so the first flights were allowed to go back. And then I came home, and it was like a slap in my face. Like I mentioned, I was a Spec Ops, Psyops soldier, and we did in Afghanistan and Kosovo a lot of propaganda, and I saw the same tactics and tools what our news media and our government was doing with our people directly with us. Like every message was the same, like the wording was everywhere the same. Everywhere you had the same videos, you had the same horror, fear porn methodics and messages. And I didn't bought it, and I said, that's not how it should be. And then I was like, I had to deal with the problem that I didn't want that my daughter wears a mask, because I was not believing in it. And so the real fight started there. Like I was trying to defend my daughter's rights, and the principal treated her like hell. Like we went to 3 doctors to get a prescription that she's not allowed to wear a mask, and then the principal said that he doesn't even care. And that's not original. I copied it. I made that on my own, like it was fake. And I thought, no, it's not fake. It's from 3 doctors. And then there was one doctor who was very open for writing those restrictions, and said, yeah, we don't believe in that, conspiracy theorist doctor. Like, okay. And so that got escalated till I even sued this guy and said, hey, I'm gonna sue your ass. You will not find daylight anymore if I'm finished with you. Like I got totally those mama bear wipes. And then I thought we won and everything will be fine. And then the horror got worse. Like my daughter had to wear a yellow bandage on her arm. She had to wear a sign around her neck which says, I'm too sick for wearing a mask. And everyone was allowed to ask her, why is she too sick? She was not allowed to go to the toilet in the public school building. She had to leave the school building to go to the gym, to go to the toilet. And this school had 1,500 students, and only 5 students, their parents were brave enough to say, no, we're not going to do that. And that brought me back into the investigative journalism. I said, hey, I don't want to just sit there and don't do anything. And I have those skills from the military. Why don't use it? So I even applied for a job in the Bavarian parliament to be the secretary of a sitting member of the Bavarian parliament. And life is funny. So this guy was actually sitting in the Council for Education. So every child abuse through schools because of masks went over my desk. So I could collect, all those mistreatments and abuse towards children through teachers, principals, and school employees. And there was even one case with a child which was 10 years old. And you have to think, in Germany, we don't have school buses. So the only school bus what you can have is from private school, or for when you are disabled, like for special needs children. We don't in Germany. You have to think about that. We don't have school buses, so only for disabled children and children from private schools. So I had this case on my desk from this 10-year-old child with Down syndrome, and the bus driver said to the child, because the child didn't wear a mask, and say, hey, you have to wear the mask, and was really unfriendly and really forced this child to wear this diaper around its face. And this child, because of its disability, it put off all their clothes. Like this boy took off his clothes. He was standing naked in the school bus wearing a face mask and was crying. And do you know what happened to the school bus driver? Nothing. The parents got a letter from school that the child was not allowed to go to take the school bus anymore. And that was only in Bavaria. So I only got those letters from Bavaria, and only from the parents who were brave enough to write a letter. And then I tried to leak those stuff to the media, like I wrote local news on and all that stuff, and said, no, we don't cover that. Those are single situations. I said, no, there are 80 cases. 80 cases is not a single situation. Yeah, but nobody cared. And then I got frustrated, and I said, okay, I can't just do it with helping this politician to make a stand in the parliament. No, I have to go boots on the ground. So I started my YouTube channel. I went to every protest all over Europe. Like I was in Paris, I was in Toulouse, I was in Madrid, Barcelona, Vienna, Berlin, Warsaw, London, like all over the place. And the live streaming from those protests, that not only Germany, this little tree-hugging group in Germany was standing up. No, it was a huge group, but with the lockdowns, nobody saw it because we were not allowed to travel. We were not allowed to come together. So that put me on a no list from the government. They didn't really like that. And they tried to sue me. They punched me against the wall, and they choked me, the German police. And I was eight hours in jail for planning a coup and throwing a water bottle against a policeman, what I didn't do, but they needed to find something to arrest me. So everything was kind of okay. And that was crazy. Like I didn't remember my country, and I was ashamed to be a German. Like I love my country. I am a patriot, and that made me to a far-right extremist and a Nazi, because how dare you in Germany to say openly and brave and honestly that you love your country. And like I said, I swore no for defending the freedom of my people and defend my country from outside and the inside. And I thought, okay, I have to do it now from the inside, because the biggest enemy is not from outside anymore. It's coming from our people, our politicians. And doing all that put me on a hit list from the Antifa. I was number 10 from 200 people, and my daughter was a number 11. And she got threatened, and then it escalated that far that we had to leave the country, and we lived half a year in Palma de Mallorca. It's a little island in the middle sea. And then I got invited by the Brazilian president 2021 in September, and then I got a visa for America, and then I could leave the country to come to America and now do my journalism in America. And I have the mission, which I think I can be most helpful for the cause, is exposing child sex trafficking and fighting pedophilia.
Amazing. Well, that's the big fight when it comes down to it, not only in America, but in the world. And anybody that sees what's going on in this world, we know that that's the problem. So you interviewed a sitting president. You had to flee your country with your child. You're in the United States of America as a journalist that not only can we see you covering what's going on here in America, because as I know and as everyone else will soon to know if they don't already, is that you understand the fact of America is the last hope, and if we lose our freedom here, then it doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah.
So we can count on you to report on that, not only here, but abroad, all over the world. You've been all over the places you've named off. So it's going to be very fun following your show as you bring us the truth, not only here in America, but all over across the world. You have many contacts. I don't know if you had mentioned it earlier, but you have many contacts such as in Russia that you were telling me about.
Yeah, so I have a source sitting in Russia, in Moscow, and I think I'm probably gonna introduce the American audience to a new point of view, how the world looks from the other side of the, not only the other side of the Atlantic, no, how even the media works in Russia, how Russia and the BRICS states work, and that there was economic forum. I'm not talking about the World Economic Forum in Davos. No, I talk about the counter economic forum where over 139 countries attended, and only the G7 states and countries and their satellite countries didn't show up. So we are in a kind of a very strange and switched position. So I hope a lot of people are interested in hearing that, because I don't know how many people have good sources in Moscow and can talk about that freely.
Absolutely right. Well, you guys, there you have it. This is Vicky Richter. And as we expose the psyops that go on in this country and also abroad, they're being played all over the place all the time. It's nice to be able to know what they are and point them out, and no one better than Vicky here, as that's what she did. She was special forces in the military for her country under the psyops unit, where she would go in and cause disruption and turmoil and do these psyops in other countries until she started seeing like, whoa, this is getting pretty crazy. She started exposing it as a journalist herself. So look forward to it. We haven't spoken about this ourselves. We know you're going to be doing a weekly show, and it's probably going to turn into a whole lot more than a weekly show. But are you going to do your show on the same time every week, or just when you could get them out?
So I'm planning on doing a weekly show. It calls Battlefield Europe. And in that show, I want to bring the battlefield, what's happening in the area, Europe and Ukraine and Russia, to the American people, because you don't think that, but when you want to know what happens to America in the next 12 years, you have to look over to the over the ocean, and see what's going on in Europe, because the whole 2030 UN agenda is actually Europe is the role model to that. And I want to bring you more closer what's going on there, to understand how you can save your country, because when you already know the plan from the enemy, it's easier to keep him away.
There it is. Well, Battlefield Europe is going to be the first show coming out. Look forward to it. And you guys, also what's going to be coming out very soon is I sat down with Vicky, myself. She sat down for a Liberty Report interview before she even committed to coming on and being a correspondent. So that's going to be coming out. It's a great interview. Awesome stuff. We'll be putting that out. But you guys, look forward to it. Weekly, you have Vicky. She's going to be bringing it to you. First up, Battlefield. What was it? Battlefield USA or
no,
Battlefield Europe?
Yes. And then the American one would probably be USA Report or something.
USA Report.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to it. You guys will know more in the coming week and coming weeks as we start scheduling in Vicky and start getting that content and getting everything worked out, where we're just started pumping out content for you guys. So Vicky, thanks for coming on. Thank you for this introduction. to the audience, and I'm sure they're going to love you and look forward to all the great reporting that you have in store. Thanks again, Vicky.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving me the chance. It's a real honor for me. Thank you so much.
The honor is mine, and the future is bright. We will see more soon.